So we always start with watercolor. We always start by working with white subjects. And the reason for that is that we deal with white in a very particular way when we're doing watercolor. And so and this is one of the things that's really great about watercolor, because you're going to start learning that oh, hi, baby. Bye, baby. That was really cute. So you're going to start learning about like, if something is white, how much is actually light, bright white, and how much is like a shade of gray. So we're going to start by drawing this. We're going to draw this coffee cup, this cup of coffee, and the shadow. For those of you who feel, for those of you who are new to drawing, I'm going to recommend, does anybody want to use the grid method to help them draw this? Does anybody know what the grid, who knows what the grid method is? Grid method, yes. Would you like to use the grid method, or would you like me to just walk you through trying to draw this? I think we should just try and draw it. It's fairly simple, so you can follow along with me. So for those who took last month's perspective lecture, where is the horizon line? Can anybody tell me? Don't worry, newbies. If you don't understand this, this is okay. This is a test for people who have been studying perspective.
It's like half up in the black.
Kind of here.
Yeah.
I'd say about here. I think. I'm like, yep. Yeah.
Maybe.
I think about there. Yeah, about there. So horizon line. So how do we know this?
Because we're looking down on it.
Yeah, because we're looking down on it. Exactly. So, so what that means is that, yep, that works. Maybe it's up. Nope, that's pretty good. Okay, so what that means is that just like a road, this cup, I'm going to say, yep, that's right, because then it goes like this and down. Just like a road, this cup, as the halfway points, you know what I'm going to do here, hold on, I'm going to do my typical, give me 1 second here. I'm going to actually show you something. Let me add my spotlight here. To really make this point. How am I going to do this? Give me a second. I just got to get everything positioned correctly to show you. All right. So, is this pen further away or closer to us? Or where is this pen located on the cup?
I'm shutting up because I know the answer.
You know the answer to this. All right. Where is the pen located on this cup?
In the center.
Yes, you know this too. But does it look like it's in the center?
No.
No, right? So yes, it is absolutely in the center. Well, it's not exactly in the center, but it's mostly in the center here. Now it's in the center. And now it's rolling off. So the point is that when you're looking at a cup, we like to think that the halfway point is exactly like these halves are exactly the same, but they are not. So I'm going to say the halfway point is probably about here, right? Here, hold on. I'm going to remove my spotlight so that we're here. Whoops.
Leah, did you freeze?
It looks like I did.
Yeah, Leah freezes. She has shitty.
God damn it. Shouldn't. I don't understand. But it said and I heard Diana saying Leah has shitty internet. And then, just so that you know, though, this rarely, anyway, this is annoying. So my point being that, here, I'm going to put you back. I'm going to put this back on the spotlight so you can see this. So my point being that the halfway point, if we were looking over the top of this cup, this half and this half would appear equal. Because we aren't, because we're looking at it from this side and we're looking in, this half is smaller than this half, okay? So when you're sketching, and you're going to start by sketching this, and I'll help you get started with your watercolor. When you start to sketch this, and you don't have to put this exactly where, you can decide kind of, you know, where you want this thing to be. It'll be dark and there'll be a kind of white square, but you can play around with where that is. I actually like to find my halfway point and then notice this is, so these halves would be equal if we looked at them. Because they are not, they have slightly different shapes. This half is kind of more narrowed in. It's like really 3 straight lines. Okay. And this half kind of poofs out a little bit and then comes in and then is down like this, comes out, kind of poofs out a little bit. 1, 2, and I'm looking to see, and this, well, there's 2 things I want to check. So go ahead and try and sketch that circle with this line here, showing your half. And then we're going to check a couple of things. While you're doing that, I'm going to check and see, okay, so from here to here, aha, very interesting. So if I go from here to here, and yeah. Yep. So the width of this, if you bring it from here to here, the width of this line is about the same as the height of the base of the cup up to the top of the cup. So once you define your width here, you can use that to define your height. And then 2. Exactly. So the next line you'll do is, once you get that, you're going to check and see, is this height? Now there's a, let's see. This kind of curves down like this here. There's kind of a straight line that then curves. Curved lines are really hard to draw, so don't worry if you don't get it right at first. It's easy to make them too extreme. I like to think of curved lines more like straight lines that intersect. See that? Straight lines that intersect. Hi, Lana, welcome. Ah, interesting. Once I locate the width here, I can see that like the length of my cup from here to here is the same as this length from the top of the cup to the center line. And then I can also see that the saucer comes up slightly above this width. So the saucer line will be kind of up here, not quite as tall as this. Don't worry, we're just gonna all do the best we can with this. So I can see that down here, once again, I've got this curve line. It kind of comes out like this and then goes in like that. It does the same thing as the circle that's up here. There's a point where it kind of bulges out here and then it gets narrower as it goes in. In fact, we can't really see it on this side, although we'll sketch it in lightly. And there's another very interesting shape here. There's that shadow. By the way, what direction is the light coming from?
Front right, lower front.
Lower right, exactly. Coming up here, and we can tell by the direction of the shadow. We can also tell that this part of the cup is light. Also, this part of the cup is light. We'll talk about that phenomenon when we start painting. And then, oh, let me send you a picture of this, you guys, so you can see this super clearly. You know what's weird? It seems like I only freeze on Wednesdays. I don't know what is that, like, because I feel like I don't really very often get thrown up. Well, maybe I'm just forgetting.
It's the evening, so probably a lot of people in your area have.
Oh, you are so smart. Yes, I am sure that's true.
And normally you're in the morning. And
right, that's right. You're right. You're right. That's probably what it is. So I'm like, why is it Wednesday mornings that are like so difficult the rest of the time? And I have like extra like Wi-Fi boosters and I got all kinds of things going on in here. We have this handle. We can see part of the handle and then we can, part of it disappears into the shadow. Yeah, go ahead and send it in when you think you're through. I'm kind of obsessed with like painting coffee cups. I just think the paintings turn out really great and the geometry of it is really, the shapes are just really beautiful. Once you get this basic shape, that shadow, then you can start adding in. Notice where the coffee line comes in, which is kind of like here. We kind of lose it a little bit here, but you can lightly see it, but it's mostly kind of away. And when you get to this point, it's very important to pay attention to light and dark shapes, because we've got some shifts that are important to capture in shape. And I'm going a little bit fast only because I want to finish this and then be able to help you guys. So don't feel like you have to go as fast as me. Notice that a lot of this shape, you can't see this rim going all the way around. It stops about here. There's a shadow here. So that's an important thing to capture. There's also a light rim that you're going to want to make sure you here. So that's more like that. There's a light rim you're going to want to get, right? This is one of the areas we're going to leave unpainted. Right, so there's that. This white rim kind of comes up here and all the way up to here. It kind of disappears here. And there's a little dark edge here. I'm seeing I need to like tweak the side of my cup a little bit. If you're making adjustments, that's like, okay. And getting it exactly right, I'm not going to be a slave driver about it. I don't think that's as important, but there is this kind of lighter shape in here. It's not totally light. So your job is going to be, and I've made this very dark, so I'm going to lighten it, this rim, because I actually want this to be Now, there is a very good lecture on perspective and what's going on here. If you want to pick that up, you're welcome to. It's in the YouTube channel and also the video channel if you subscribe to that. So that is there. All right, so I'm going to take a picture of this. Oh, wait, and then there's stuff inside the cup. So what I'm doing right now is defining the light, medium, and the dark shapes within the cup. There's one here. There's a shift that happens here. So let me, Paul, you could do better than that.
Yeah, I erased it. I'm redoing
Okay,
it.
okay. All right, I'm going to send a picture of this, and then I'm going to label the light, medium, and dark values. So here is the drawing. Here's where we're getting to with the drawing. And then let me show you kind of what we're going for. So if you remember, value is the lightness or darkness of any color. So a 1 is like totally light. Whoops. Here. A 1 is totally light. And a 5 is totally dark. 2, 3, and 4 just get gradually darker and darker, right? So this is, so I'd say this is a 1, 1, the rim is 1, this is 1, this shape is 1, here, right? That is 1. In fact, everything here is 1. The shape kind of disappears here. This is all 1, and this is a 1. And then maybe we've got this is 5. 5. I'd say 4. There is 4. I'd say 4, 4, 2, 2, maybe a 1 in there. Maybe a 3, maybe a 2. So now I'm going to take this picture of the values just to show you where those are. So you guys work on your drawing and work on outlining the values here as you see them. And then we will talk about paint and mixing. You know, one of the, Marcel, you asked about ink, which you totally could do since this is such a black and white painting, but I would say that I'm going to show you how to mix grays out of colors. So it might be useful for you to work with color today, just to kind of learn how to do that. It's, although as always, you know, you guys can work with whatever. Let's see. Well, I'm checking a couple of things. This line here, hold on, let me check something. Okay, 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, good. I think you need to nip this up. So I think, so there's a couple of things, Marcel.
Yep.
One, this is a great, mostly a great drawing. Very little wrong with it. I always forget to say that, like actually mostly a pretty good job. So where do we need to improve? This should be a little higher and flatter up, right? This needs to come up a little bit. And you have this line coming way too far down. It stops here. And it really comes around to about here. So it stops just kind of below this point, and it comes down a little bit lower than you have it. Because look at this white area. And I'm telling you that because this white area is going to be important, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Claudia, not bad. So the only thing I'd say is you need to carve in here. Hold on. Let me make this bigger so I can show you. This is too wide at the base. So if you can nip it in, so you've done this, you've done this, right? And this. So carve that in a little bit. And this saucer is too far down. It's a little bit, it's not as, if you see here, it's a little bit higher up than you have it this length, and it's really a little bit above. It's a little bit shorter than the height of the cup. So bring that in a little bit. Not bad. Also bring down the coffee line just a bit. So you've got a little bit more white here. Good job. Good job. Good job for somebody who said she doesn't know how to draw. Nice job. And here, sorry, I was going to send this to you guys so that you can have it. So this is a little map of the values in the photo. And if you're missing the photo, I'll pull down the actual source later without all the stuff on it, so you can take a look at it. And by the way, if you feel like well, no, let's just stick with this. We got to stick with white just so that we can learn from white. So while you guys are drawing, I'll talk to you a little bit about this concept of white in watercolor. Very similar. Oh, kitty, looking great, Diana. He reminds me of your little orange cat from your series.
Yeah.
Very cute.
Leah, do you want us to shade, or is that just?
No, we're watercoloring today.
Okay.
So yeah, no shading. Absolutely none. If you do, it's going to wreck. The paint will mix with your. It'll mix with your.
Graphite.
With your graphite, and it'll look kind of gray. What's nice is the graphite will provide a kind of nice structure that you'll see as you start to lay out. So here's what's nice about watercolor. In watercolor, white areas, ones we don't paint. We leave them unpainted. And that's why we always start with white, because and how to deal with a white object. Because you can see that although this is a white cup on a white saucer, on a white table, that there's areas of the cup and the saucer that are not white. So it really sort of forces you to look at sort of protect the areas that are white by not painting them, basically. And really focusing on where dark areas come with a light object. So I really like that. I think you're going to find, you're going to find that like anything that's labeled a 1, you're just not going to touch, right? You're just going to leave that. There are watercolorists that have, that wet their paper down or tone. I am not one of those. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that's not how I do it. It's not how I was trained. I don't have as much training in watercolor as other things, and it was not how I was trained to do it. But somebody might show you how to do that, and that's right. So we're going to work with a dry paper. And my watercolor paper, I don't know if you guys can see this. I have it measured and taped off so that when I finish at the end, I can paint this whole thing, but there'll be a nice clean edge that is not a pencil line, right? That kind of cleans up the watercolor. So I really like doing that. This is just a little bit of, it's like kind of this painter's tape. Can you see it? So I literally just tape the edges. You don't have to. The other thing you're going to need is scratch paper for testing. So I have some scratch paper over here on the side. I have my palette and my brush. So when everybody sent me a photograph of your cup and you're feeling pretty good about it, I will start talking about setting up the palette. Tashween, that looks good. Hold, yeah, that's good. Yeah, good. Oh, that's going to be fun. I like it. Good job. Send me your cups. Lend me your ears. Those of you who are finished can erase that line across the middle once you've gotten it down. Erase any extra lines. Guess I'm going to keep the line here, but I'm going to kind of erase it down here. All right, and while I'm doing that, I'll talk a little bit about palette organization. That's why you guys are finishing up the drawing. You may have a palette that looks, let's see. Yes, good, better, much better, Marcel, you got it.
Second one, I'm gonna do 1 watercolor and 1 ink.
Okay, oh, excellent. Yeah, I mean, these should actually go pretty quickly because there's so much that we're not painting. All right, so this is my kind of preferred watercolor container. You're seeing that I've actually got a wet paper towel, and it's got several. So I work with tubes of wet paint. That's because there's sometimes things I like to do with the tubes, which we'll talk about as we get to them. It's kind of complicated to talk about them now. But what happens, of course, is that if you don't use all your watercolor, you can see I haven't done watercolor since the last class, which was Friday. So all of the paint the tube paint has dried. It's acting a lot like the pats, right? So if you're using pats, we're kind of moving in that direction. If you're using tubes, what I like about this particular set is that I can, all of the paints remain the same color. So I never switch them out. So as they dry, I just replenish them. So for example, I have wait, is that my green? Yeah, and in fact, I'm going to remove this green because I didn't really like it very much. Right. So I actually ran out of Viridian green, so I was using another one. So now I'm going to add in a little bit of green here. And that means whenever the green runs out, I will just put more in this tube. To help remember it, you can write them down. See, on the backs. So I kind of like a setup. So for me, I prefer a setup where the same colors are going in every time. Let's see. I'm replacing stuff that I've run out of. So this is yellow ochre. I'm putting a little bit more yellow ochre in here. Some of my colors are a little bit dirty because I was mixing them. So I'm actually bringing my cloth over and cleaning them out a little bit, just the top layers. So if you want to do that, you can. And then the most important thing is I'm cleaning out the mixing trays because I want my mixes to not be, to be kind of, I want to start fresh with my mixes. If I have any paint laying here and I mix it here, it's going to blend with what's going on there. Let's see, what have I got? I also got this new yellow called, well, it's not new, it's new for me, called Gamboge, because I heard good things about it in watercolor. I don't, so it's kind of also this mustardy green color, but kind of cool. So for those of you who have finished your drawing, don't stress if you're not, but if you finish your drawing, you can kind of replenish your painting supplies, your paints. Or if you've got pats, you can clean them out. Where's my, yeah, that's ultramarine. Okay. Down. I like using tubes because sometimes, very rarely, sometimes you can go back in and add a little bit of tube color with no water on top and fix and sort of adjust things. But it's not something you want to gamble on. Here you go. There we go. So go ahead and kind of replenish your tubes or just finish your drawing. Do what Marcel's doing and do two. One in ink. Which is actually a great idea to kind of get used to the brush strokes. Give that orange and a little bit more burnt sienna. But also let this time kind of be, as you organize, be kind of relaxing. It's been, as always, well, it's been a crazy year. And it's the end of a work day. And I want you to just feel like you're winding down. So you want to have a place to mix your colors. You're going to want to have a place to test your colors. And then let me add my spotlight here. And then as you can see here, I've got my water brush and my 3 brushes of choice. I do 90% with a brush this size. It's the 1/2 inch Escoda Perla. It's a Spanish brush. As you can see, it's got a very thin tip. right? If you look at it from a profile, it kind of comes back to the skinny tip. And what I like about it is that over here, notice I am not painting on my painting. I can do sort of big brush strokes like this, and I can also do skinny ones like that. You know, you can't really see that very well here. I'm gonna move my spotlight for a second so you can see this better. Go. Hold on. So see that kind of skinny? It does skinny lines really well. It does these sort of deep, rich brush strokes very well. And then about 10% of it I'll do with these little teeny brushes. So if you can see by comparison, like a skinny brush where you do the detail work, but much of the work is done with this fairly thick brush. You're gonna find the brushes that you love. That's part of the point of painting, is that you will find brushes that you love. I'm sharing with you the ones I love. I like my brushes to do, my watercolor brushes to do different things than my my acrylic brushes. Like this brush is my brush of choice for oil and acrylic painting. And you can see it's like thick and scraggly. The thicker and the scragglier, the better. Because I like to lay paint on thick, and more often, as we all know, coming through acrylic, those of you who came through acrylic painting know it helps to have these rough edges for like for creating soft edges. But watercolor really creates soft edges on its own very well. Let's see. Because it, here, I'll go up here so you can really see. Because it just interacts, just because of the nature of the water, right? See that? See how soft and textured that, whoop, no, you don't see that at all. Here, hold on, how's that? See how soft and textured that line is? So I don't need a rough, scraggly brush. My medium does that for me without really thinking about it. Like just by applying watery paint, which will bleed out on textured paper. So I want to brush with a little bit more control. Okay. Anybody else ready? Are you guys let me know when you're ready and we can start talking about mixing and colors and all of that stuff. But does anybody have questions so far? On this.
You are so clear. Nothing else needs to be added.
Now you're teasing me. But it's nice, you know, this is a nice, we've got this sort of fairly straightforward, this fairly straightforward shape. And like I said, many of these areas, we aren't going to paint at all. So there are tools that some painters, watercolor painters use. There is masking fluid. So if you really wanted to make sure you didn't get your whites with paint on them, you could cover it with masking fluid, but I think that's cheating. I don't really want to. And I'm just realizing this line's a little bit off. There we go. Yeah. What I want you to start to learn is to get a little control with your brush so that you're not bleeding into these areas. Because the one thing about watercolor paint is that unlike acrylic or oil, where you can let it dry and layer lighter colors on top of darker ones, you cannot go too dark with watercolor. With watercolor, you have to build up layers slowly and you have to preserve your whites. So that's why testing is so important, because we need to know on every level when we've got, you know, like how dark our paint is with each stroke. Because as you're kind of pulling water in and mixing, and I'll go over what I mean by that later. Also, I'm looking here to see, You know, we have a lot of hard edges here. The only soft edges we have are kind of in here, or in, let's see, this section. Everything else is hard. So this, and there's a little bit of a slightly soft edge here, a little bit of a soft edge in here. But for the most case, our edges are pretty hard. So we're gonna wanna have brush control. Gonna wanna have that. How's everybody doing? Getting your drawing done. How's your day? How's everybody's day been? So we pulled out of Afghanistan.
Not
Didn't I
yet.
thought we were waiting till September?
We are waiting till September?
Yeah.
Okay, we will be pulling out of Afghanistan.
Today was the deadline, but it's going to be in September.
Right. So go ahead. And whenever the first person is ready to start talking about colors and mixing, let me know. If there's anybody ready, I'll start now.
Ready.
If you're ready. All right. Let's do this. So, and once again, I'm going to express it. So I'm going to put this down here since I'd like you to watch my mixing and my testing more than the actual source. So when you start to paint, you can look at the source. I'll put the source back up. So I like to start with the dark areas, but I want to start with the dark areas with very light layers. I am going to completely avoid painting this area. Anything that I've got labeled a 1, I'm going to avoid getting any paint on at all. So my best bet is to start lightly with dark areas, and then I can kind of build up from there. So the dark area to me that's just kind of screaming to be done is the coffee cup. And I see the colors of the coffee cup. Here, hold on. I'll put you this way. This down a little bit, because that's where we actually see a little bit of brown. Here. Yeah, 1 second. One more little piece of tape. There we go. All right, so this brown is a very rich brown, but it's not just brown. If you look and you see on your testing paper, that's over here. Move this in a little bit so we can see. Come on, getting all tangled up. I think I need a bigger camera so I can get like a bigger shot of my workspace here. All right, so if I were to just take, this is burnt umber. If I were to just take burnt umber, it's not dark enough. If you compare it to this color, you'll see it's too brown. It isn't dark enough. So I need to actually mix something with this brown to get the dark to the level that it should be. And that is always going to be, almost always going to be a blue. And that is because burnt umber is like an orange color, and blue would be the complement of burnt umber. So I'm pulling a little bit of blue, fresh ultramarine blue, in to mix with my burnt umber, like that. So I have something pretty dark. It's like a little too dark, so I want more brown in there. And notice I'm testing it. Now this is really too dark to lay down. So I am actually, I don't know if you can see here. Now you're going to want to see what I'm doing as well. I'm going to add my spotlight. So here I keep dipping it in the water until I get something that's kind of like a 3 on the value scale. I might add a little burnt sienna in there as well to make it a little bit more browner, oranger. Oh yeah, that's nice. It's gonna look kind of grayish, but that's okay. And notice what happens, it gets lighter. So I want, so as I mix my paint, I've got my paint kind of mixed here, right? I've got my paint mixed here. Before I put any strokes on the paper, I'm going to check. Okay, I'm going to be like, okay, I'm going to check on with my test, and I'm going to see, oh, that's a little too dark. I'm going to dip more water in my brush. Okay, that's better. Oh, and very important, I have my blankie with me, my security blankie, which is my paper towel in my non-dominant hand. And now I think I feel ready to lay the first layer of dark color down. It's gonna look brown and watery. It's not the rich color you're gonna want. That's okay. We're gonna build up the colors here. So that first color is burnt umber, burnt sienna, and then a touch of blue. And notice I'm trying as hard as I can to preserve.
Is that just a touch of blue? I thought you put more blue than there.
I went back and forth between blue and orange, and you're
Okay.
gonna have to blue and browns. You're gonna have to kind of play with that a little bit.
All right.
To get it right. And you're going to be testing it. So look at how much testing I've already done. And this is just the first color, right? Look at all of that. And then look what happens as it dries, it gets lighter. So I guess for me, the logic of starting with the darkest areas means I'm less likely to screw up and get too dark right away if I go here. Because we've got some lighter areas here where I've got to be even more careful. Let's go ahead and do that and let me know. You can take a picture and send it over, or I can go on to the next color. You guys tell me when you're ready. At some point, you can also just start taking off.
Hey, Leah.
Yeah.
Would you say the coffee in the mug is the same? Well, you have 5 and 5, so like the shadow.
No, I don't think it's the same color, right? I'm going to show you a different color to mix for this.
Okay.
Actually, am I going to do that? Am I? Actually, the coffee is a little bit, there's a slightly sort of brown rim here.
Let's see that.
Let's test. Let's actually test a couple colors. So there are a couple of darks I love to mix. One is Viridian Green and Alizarin Crimson. So you can see here. And the other one is Burnt Umber and Ultramarine Blue. So yeah, actually in this case, you might be able to get away with, what I want you to do is mix both. And decide which one you like better. So test it on the paper and see what you like as it dries. Both are valid darks. Maybe Burnt Umber and Ultramarine Blue might be the better choice here. Yeah, you could if you wanted to, with maybe a little bit more blue. Here, hang on, I'm gonna get one more. Wait, here we are. Here's my tape. For the cup, we're gonna go for different mixes though. So for the cup, we're gonna do different, the actual, cup itself. Yeah, so I would add like a little bit more blue to the dark mixture, the shadow. And yeah, you can lay that down as well if you want to. Also lightly, right? We don't want to go too dark. That's not too bad. That's actually pretty dark. Here, hold on. Let me get my blankie. Let me see if I can pull a little bit off. Sometimes if you're fast enough, see, there you go. I can pull off the extra paint
I tested with doing a blue ear just to get a little variation in the light colors.
Yeah. Let
You
me
think
see.
that-
Did you send it over?
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, I love that. So is that blue ear is in shadow, right?
Yeah, it's kind of in a different light.
Yeah, I would say like in general, like shadow areas of anything, blues and you could go kind of cooler tones. And if it's kind of like a mid-tone shadow, right? Like it's kind of a lighter shadow. Absolutely.
You think it works?
Yeah, I think it works. I do. I love it. I'd like to see it at the end. I'd love to see your source on it too, Diana, just to see what the light is doing to the object.
I can send that.
Mhm. So notice, by the way, guys, this is dry. And this is dry too. And they have lightened somewhat. So we are going to go over with top layers. But we started with these layers because we're less likely to screw them up. If we start with the darkest areas first. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's kind of like a, actually, that part of the cat is in light.
Yeah, but
other
it's
ears.
another kind of light.
It's another, yes, it's a bright shade. You know, I might even go lighter blue on top.
Okay.
Like a very baby blue, you know,
Yeah.
with a lot of white and maybe some lemony, yep, some maybe lemony white streaks next to it. Nice.
Yeah, I just thought it was
Look
so
at him, he's so
boring.
coy. He's so coy, that cat.
Yeah.
He's got such a coy expression.
Yeah,
So
just
right, here are our fives.
so easy that it gets boring when you have like one tone.
Yeah, absolutely. And cools and warms definitely plays a role here.
Yeah.
Blue is a good choice because of the coolness of that light.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But
Yeah, yeah, which means you should also echo it down, which you kind of have done, down in the face on this side of the face as well.
yeah,
Right? Because if you look at it, and maybe a bit here too. So that cool white, well, maybe not up here, but down here, that cool sort of bluish white light, get a little bit down here as well.
Get a little bit more there, yeah.
Yeah, because it's kind of hitting at the same, it's hitting the same places.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
I'll do
I like it. It's lovely.
Thank you.
How's it going, everybody?
Good.
Yeah? All right. Tell me when you're ready to talk. Let me talk a little bit. Actually, take a break for a second, even if you haven't. I want to talk a little bit about mixing grays. And then I feel like you're kind of ready to run on your own. And you could, and I will paint and you can paint, and you know, you can paint at your own pace, paint and mix at your own pace. Here, I'm cleaning these off. So, so grays can be mixed from complements. Do you guys remember the complementary color pairings?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Purple and yellow.
Yep.
Red and green.
Yep.
Blue
And blue
orange.
and orange. Right. So you get to experiment with mixing grays from like the complementary colors. I mean, one of my favorites to do is a kind of a purple and yellow mix. Sometimes those grays turn out really well. And you do that by starting out mixing. I'm going to take a little blue and a little bit of red here, a cool red. So I'm actually mixing a purple here. Oh, come on. Here we go. There we go. I'm mixing a little bit of blue and red for purple. And then I'm getting some water on my brush. I'm going to add a little yellow to that mix. Okay. And then I'm coming over here to test again. Might be too yellow, might want a little bit more blue and red in there. Oh yeah, that's nice. It makes a really lovely gray. but I want to water this gray really down. So once I mix it, I'm gonna get it on my brush. I'm gonna dip my brush in the water once or twice, several times, so that I can do these lighter colors. So this is ultramarine blue, quinacridone or permanent red, and cadmium yellow. And I mixed it, and now I have it. I mixed it, and now I've got it on my brush. I'm testing it to make sure it's not getting too dark. And now I'm going to come in here. Oh, maybe I went a little too light, got a little too cautious there. Better to be too cautious than not at all. I'm adding it into my fours. I can layer in. I'm testing every time I dip my brush in the paint. I'm testing. So that's one gray mix that you can do, or you can try blue and orange. I have to actually happen to have some orange here. Let's see what happens when you do that. Here's some orange. Here's blue. That's kind of browny. If something feels too brown, too orangey, you can add more of the other color to it. That also makes a nice gray, right? So I could decide, maybe I'm going to try and add that gray here. So blue and orange. There's a little bit of gray here. So you can see I'm layering these in, but still fairly lightly so that as I darken them, I have like options. There's also red and green. So you can see we started with a red and green. So I'm doing alizarin crimson and viridian green. I'm mixing that. That's very dark. So of course that's very dark as it is. And it gets lighter. So I'm going to give you guys options. You can mix whatever gray you want. The challenge is to lay them down lightly. In fact, I think I have all three grays on this cup. Hopefully that's going to work out for me. I don't know if that is, but I don't know if I like that last one. It's a little bit too blue. Notice how I'm using the edge. But notice how much, and notice that like it's slightly darker. So as this once this dries, I can go back in and darken that. The other thing to know about watercolor. So notice see how this is already starting to come together. And there's all this stuff that I'm not painting at all, right? There's all this stuff and this of course is going to stay the same. The other thing I can do while I'm waiting is I could do like a blue, ultramarine blue and burnt umber, a really dark one, and come here because it's super dark around here too, right? So I could also, that's one of the things that emphasizes the lightness of the cup. So see, I can go around like this while I'm waiting for things to dry. I can come in and add darks here. This, and before I lay in my darker colors, I'd like to lay in my midtones. I'd like to lay in my 2s, my 3s, and my 4s. So I'm getting in this dark background here, which I'll obviously have to darken. I don't have to do the whole thing, but I can do the part around the cup, which is helpful. And now I'm like, okay, I've got like a 4 here. I've got a dark that's here. I'm preserving the tip here of the very edge of the cup. And there's kind of a light 2 or 3 here. Also, this is pretty dark and this is, oops, light. So you're just using a lot of water. So I want you to practice mixing grays.
Hey, Leah,
Huh.
and as a practice, like, less about playing and more about putting something together that you are wanting to put as a gift or on the wall.
Yes.
Would you encourage to mix the colors and land on one type of gray and then go from dark to light with those color combinations? Or would you?
I would encourage you to do what you like to do. So honestly, I would say if you're like kind of jonesing on the different, I think it would look okay. Like, I don't think this actually looks that bad right now. What's problematic is that this isn't dark enough, and this is a great, let's see, is it light enough? The only thing that's really problematic is that I don't have the values right on this, right? Because I laid in my darks fairly lightly. So you will see as soon as this dries, I'm going to pop this out and you're going to see. I don't actually think, anyway, I don't think it looks that bad. So I think it looks okay. But you know, I'm a colorist. I'm biased. I think that, you know, did you hear what Diana and I were just talking about? Like, she's painting this cat and we're talking about how boring it is to use just one color.
Yeah.
And it's probably true that things are reflecting off this cup in this side of the cup in a different way. So I think you're safe, I guess is what I would say. I think you're safe to like recreate. And of course, you're just not touching the areas where there is where there's white, right? So that makes this easy. Look how quickly this comes out. This starts to come out. Let me see. I'm gonna get braver and a little darker. I'm mixing more burnt umber and more ultramarine blue. Might have to go get more ultramarine blue. Okay, I'm testing it here. I'm gonna get darker in here. I'm gonna start by getting darker here because this is the darkest. So see how I can lay this dark down? Anyway, I don't think people notice the variations. I don't think variations bother people. I think people kind of like them because it feels painterly. It feels like you're almost interpreting.
Yes. For
them something that doesn't look like a photograph, right? That looks like a painting. That's what the Impressionists were doing. They were working primarily with color. I'm reading this really good novel right now called Leaving Van Gogh. Have you guys, any of you read it?
Nope.
No.
So I think it's a fictionalized book. So I'm pretty sure the character is fictionalized. It's if Van Gogh had a friend who was like an alienist, right? Like a psychologist. If Van Gogh had a friend who was a psychologist in the last year of his life, when he was after he got out of so this character is a psychologist. The beginning, there is no psychology really, right? But it's the beginning of studying madness diseases. Van Gogh's brother tries to ask this guy to keep an eye on Van Gogh, who's just gotten out of the insane asylum. And so all this guy is doing is talking about how Van Gogh uses color, and the conversation, and the alienist also happens to be somebody who studied art and who loves art and hangs out with Pissarro and all the people, right? He loves art. So he's, I guess, Vincent Van Gogh's last friend. By the way, look at how this is starting to pop, right? There's a little white area here that you want to try and preserve. So you want to not cover that whole area up with. So now this gets tricky. Now I'm going over with darker here, and I'm trying to pop this edge. So that requires, some of you might want to use a smaller brush for this. Anyway, Van Gogh is talking about painting him, the doctor, I think the fictional doctor, And he says something like, your face is going to be red, which will look, ruddy next to the blue, and and just everything, all emotion is expressed through color. Everything is expressed through color for Van Gogh. It is like, I don't know if, I'm not sure how close to the truth it is, but it is really, it's a mesmerizing read, the way he talks about color.
Yes.
I would highly recommend it, in all our spare time. Very nice, Diana, exactly. So now that blue is light enough, and it's echoing what's happening in the
Yeah.
nose. Love it.
I just have a little, and I think I'm gonna leave the body
Yeah.
be so it's concentrated on the face. I'm just touching up the face a little bit.
Yeah, the only thing I do to the body is glaze it a little darker. Maybe a
Okay.
purple.
The purple glaze.
Yeah, maybe a purple, me and my purple glazes. I like these. So notice what's happening as I'm able to start glazing. Now we're starting to get a little bit more darkness. There's a dark in here. It's kind of dark up here. Oops.
I'll try it.
Watercolor goes fast. You guys might all have time to do a second watercolor. Like, you might actually have time to do that. And look at how nice and dark that reads. I'm going a little bit darker here. Waiting till this dries. I want to add a little bit of color here. Then I want to go slightly darker. Maybe I want to pull out a little bit of that color. Here, hold on. Yeah, there we go. It's kind of a little dark edge here. This is light. I might work the background a little bit. There's like a little, yeah, you know what? I'm going to do this with my little tiny brush. There is a little spot here. It's like a little dark edge, and it's got a white light to the left of it. So it's on the bottom of the saucer rim. So I'm going to use a very light brush, a very tiny brush, to try and get that. You don't have to get to this level of detail, though, to create something pleasing. People love coffee cups. It's a very easy, it's a crowd pleaser. You don't have to do very much. You really just have to get this dark and this light. And then this is interesting because there's the side of the cup, which is dark, and then there's a light splashy area. So what I want to do is try and work around. Let's see how well I do at this. I want to kind of build up my darks a little bit here, but preserve this kind of this light streaky 2. That's here. Hopefully I didn't screw that up. I might have lost that sort of little light reflection. Oh, too much water. So you see how I'm slowly building up the dark here. And here's the thing about watercolor, it goes so fast. So before you know it, you're done. There's nothing else you can do. Like, you're like, that's it. That's all I got.
Leah, my grays are too charcoal.
I don't know what to tell you. That's great. That's what you want.
I want charcoal, is what you're saying?
You want gray, which is charcoal. Yes. Absolutely. You do. You want to make it softer. You want to make it lighter on your first layers. But yeah, I mean, your grays should look charcoaly. Do you not like that color?
It's not that I don't like it. It's, I feel it should be lighter colored.
Well,
I'm
you need to
looking at
dip more
your-
water in your brush. You need to dip your brush in water, right?
Yeah.
So you have, yeah. So don't forget, you're constantly, and don't lay anything on your paper until you've tested it and dipped, and you might dip 3 times, right? To get enough.
It's still, I mean, it's still kind of,
Well, you need to dip again, dip again,
I gotta
dip
check.
again. Take a picture if you want to show me. But really, what you want is to dip is just to keep dipping in water until you've got a lighter color. But take a picture if you want to show me. Maybe I'm missing something in this question, but to me, yeah, there we go. Might be done. Oh, hopefully I didn't go too dark there. So easy to go too dark. So there we go. And if you don't like what you do, you can also do, you can do it again. Because this is a pretty fast, watercolor is a fast process, and it either works or it doesn't, right? Like you either get it or you don't. So it's hit or miss, I guess is the point. Like you've got one shot to do it. I have had more watercolor failures, and don't be afraid of failure too in this. I've had more watercolor failures than I've had in any other medium. It's just how it is. If you don't get it right, if you overdo it, it's hard to figure out how to go back. I kind of like this one. I think it's at a good place. And what I'll probably do next, yeah, I'm gonna use my big brush and get as much dark as I can. Watercolor is going to challenge your feelings about control, right? And so don't worry if you don't like absolutely get it right on this one. It's really worth it to try again. There are some things that can't be saved in watercolor, but that doesn't mean it's a problem. Ultimately, you learn when you apply, and watercolor makes you go fast. So that's that, you're going to learn fast, like very fast. All right.
It worked well with the purple, and so I did whiskers. Now I just gonna wait for them to dry so I can.
Okay. I
tone them.
like it. Tashween, this is beautiful. I like it. Now I want you to do now. So work on darkening the darks here, because I think in the background, because I think that's beautiful. What do you think of it? It's very expressive. Can you see it?
Yeah.
So
It was really nice to be able to like fix things with acrylic.
yeah. Watercolor. And I kind of like this little rosy hue that you've got here.
Okay.
In your gray right in here. I think that's really pretty. So the only thing you might have lost, I've kind of lost it a little bit too, is this little white rim. However, there's a possibility that we can fix it. I will wait until this dries, and then I'll show you why I love to see. I told you we would get to why tubed paint is better. I'm about to show you that. So just work on your darks around the edge of this coffee cup, right? Kind of darken it. I feel like it could use another layer, but look how beautiful the strokes are. See how like, and how quick and how expressive it is. See how different yours is than mine, right? See how like much yours is you. We can try to paint like the masters. We'll never be able to. We're copying a Cezanne pear right now in Sunday art class, in the Sunday art class. You know, we're never going to be able to paint like Cezanne, never. But we might be, if we're lucky, we can learn how to paint like us. And this is just great. Claudia, it's lovely. Don't you kind of like it?
I don't, but I'm glad I tried.
Okay, so I have some suggestions for you. One is, yeah, so you kind of lost your white here, right? This white little edge here. You kind of lost that. It's easy because the paint bleeds in. You have to be careful about that. I'm just looking to see. This edge is a little bit raggedy, right? A little bit, this is a kind of raggedy edge. It should be a clean line. So you might want to, and I think probably what happened was you put paint in here when it wasn't quite dry. This wasn't dry, right? Is that what happened? So the paint kind of bled in a little bit.
Yeah, I lost control of the water.
You lost, okay. So here's my, there's not much you can do about that. Try taking a little bit of water though, just getting your brush wet with water and seeing if you can smooth out that line on the dark side. See what you can do by just running a little water over the edge. If you can't, that's okay. I mean, that's a really hard thing to do. And I'm just trying to think of what else we can do here. I mean, it's a good try. It's a real good try. I'm kind of debating whether we should have you try drawing it again and try working on another one, or if I maybe want you to darken this coffee a little bit too. That might also help. So try cleaning up this edge by taking water and running your brush along. Try mixing more ultramarine blue. Yeah, and here you lost a little control over your brush, right? Right there. So yeah, try and see if you can kind of smooth out using a little bit of paint. Paul, not bad. Although this looks very blue, so I feel like you have more blue than brown, and this looks very brown, so you've got more brown than blue. This is not bad though. So get your, Paul, get your dark, get your 4 dark in here. That's going to help define the edge of your cup. And then get more of that dark around most of the edge here. This is like a 2 and a 3, the edge of the cup. And then the shadow is a 4. Nice. Good job, you guys. Actually, and Claudia, having said, giving you corrections, I actually think you did well. So like, I just think you did really well in this assignment. Yeah, Marcel, wonderful. So Marcel, this is way darker. This, all you need to do is darken this side of the handle. It's as, this is a 5. It blends, it actually blends into the shadow. Can you see it? Oh, wow, ink. So you can do that with both of these.
Yeah, it's bad paper choice, so I'm having some bleeding happening here.
Oh, what are you using?
I just used a Bristol, the drawing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you used Bristol and it did that?
Yeah.
Well, just go over with another layer. You can get rid of some of that marking that you don't want to see. Darken here, and you have your, you just on both the cop, these are great, both of them. So, but you have the handle too light on both versions. So this handle on this side really disappears into the shadow.
Okay.
You only really see it up here, and then it just becomes one with the shadow. This is what we call a lost edge. It's what happens when like a strong dark shadow cuts across an object and we can't actually see where the edge of the object and the edge of the shadow begin. And this is also a lost edge. We can't really see where the saucer and the ends and the shadow begins. It's very hard. So that's also a lost edge. So if you're feeling like you're kind of going crazy, going, I know that edge is there, but I can't see it. Lost edges are huge in terms of showing volume on a two-dimensional surface. So they're important. I don't know. I like them, Marcel. So just like work on the darkening part. Keep playing. I love it. I love that you're doing this in ink and in watercolor, because you guys see how fast this goes, right? What time are we at? Yeah, you have half an hour. Those of you who finished can try again. Like, honestly. All right. So I'm going to show you why I like it. May work, it may not. So sometimes, wait, let me find it first and then I'll show you.
I think it's a little bit late for me to start a new painting.
It's up to you. It depends on how hungry you are.
Yeah, that's true. I'm not.
Are you hungry right now? Is dinner ready, or do you have another half an hour? Sometimes when you're really tired, it's an awesome time to start a new painting.
That's true too.
I know that's crazy. I know that sounds crazy, but being really hungry and tired, because you're so tired, you don't fight yourself so much.
You don't think that's why the best acting is done when you're exhausted.
Right. And, they make doctors like, okay, so I'm giving myself, right? You make a doctor like work these insane fucking hours.
Your head,
all right.
Well, doctor, I don't know, but your head doesn't get in the way.
Right. So here is some wet white watercolor paint. You don't use white very much, but this is wet. I have a little skinny brush. I am taking straight wet from the tube watercolor paint. And I'm going to try and add it back in. I'm going to try and add my white edge back in. Sometimes this can work. See that? Oh, I got it back. See? And this is why tube paint is awesome, because every once in a while you can do that up, and be careful not to go too far. See? Every now and then you don't paint the white areas white, but if I lose a white area like I did here, I can kind of bring it back with a little bit of, so with tubed paint, you can sometimes lay like wet paint with no water down. Look,
Yeah,
I did it.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. So if you have white tube, so I always have some white. Oh, and in fact, I've got another area I could clean up over here. So notice I'm using, so, and you can do that with other colors besides white. It can work. Yeah, so see, oh yeah, there, I did it. I cleaned it up. I had a little bleed in. And then the last thing I'm going to try, we'll see, I'm really pushing it, is there's that little white edge. Let's see if I can add that back in. And seems to be working. So this is why I think tubed paint can be really helpful.
I'll try that.
Yeah, try it. See, but there's no water involved. It's just pure paint. You gotta, and it's
Leah, I don't remember if you said that we could use water to try to erase, but I tried that. And I got some of it.
Yeah, sometimes it can work. Sometimes it can work. You can also use water to kind of make soft edges, right? Like if I want to soften this edge here a little bit, because this is a little bit hard, I could see how I've just taken water and I'm pushing and blending it out.
Cool.
Yeah, you can sometimes do that. Sometimes that will work. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Either way. Watercolor forces you to live with your mark making in a serious way. Just like ink, I'd say. That's probably true. And that's the beautiful thing about it. So because it goes down so fast, because we leave these white areas, right? Like so white. Because of that, there's a kind of, I think this is what people love about it. I think this is why it's so appealing. There's this expressiveness you can't really deny. It's really quite beautiful. It has you have some areas for correction, but not that much. Right? So it forces you to live with your brush strokes. And everything I've seen so far is very pretty. I like everything I've seen. Yep. Yes, exactly. The new, yeah. Exactly. I think it looks great. I have liked everyone I've seen. I've liked Marcel's, I've liked Paul's, I've liked Claudia's, I've liked Toshwi's. I love them. I actually kind of love them all. I'm kind of in love with them. So, you can try another one because you now know how to do it. And there's so much that we don't paint, right? You can try another one. You can, I don't know, you can do whatever you want. You can keep working on this one. I just think it's amazing. The expressive, I just love the individual voice that comes out so quickly. I also like it that I kind of like it when you can look at something and go, no, I'm going to try that again. So yeah, now we're just working. I like it. Yeah, so it requires a kind of steady hand. It requires a kind of radical acceptance. It requires like a lot of things. Let's see. Yes, it is late, but good job, Tashween. You did good. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow, class. We're going to do a flower tomorrow. And tomorrow, remember, class starts at 6:30. You got it. I'll remind everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna sign off too.
Okay.
So good to see you.
Good to see you too. Are you going to join us next week?
I'm gonna try.
All right.
Okay, I'll see you.
Bye. Nice to see you, Marcel. Great work.
Thank you.
Thanks
Yep.
for everything. I gotta go too. Good night.
All right. Good night, Claudia. All right. I think everybody did quite well. Don't you
Yeah.
guys think so?
Yeah. I'm starting a new one. I don't know if this is a good.
Do it, Diana.
Yeah, but when you see what I'm doing, you think I'm crazy.
Are you going back to the damn project?
No, I'm doing
Okay, okay.
I'm doing this. I'm doing this.
Diana, how did the awards go?
They went great.
They went
You did
great.
a good
They're on
job. Hold it up
they're on-
again. What are you doing? Hold it up again.
It's so messy.
Oh, fun. Yes, a self-portrait. Yeah, get started. That's a great thing
cat-
to get started on.
It's me, the cat, and the dog.
I love it. I freaking love
Like
it.
a candid shot of us.
I love it. And just like kind of, hey, Paul, apparently it went great.
You did,
I'm
yeah.
talking for Diana. I'm like, Diana, it went great.
Yeah,
Now Diana's proxy, I can
It-
tell you.
yeah. It's on the website. It's
Oh,
you
you
know,
can watch it. Okay.
It's
I was
only
gonna watch
half,
it live.
it's
I was
only
gonna
half
watch it
an
live.
hour.
Yeah, that's okay.
It's only half an hour, so you can actually stand it.
Oh, good. Okay.
And it's,
And there's a comedian and
yeah,
Cool. Anyone famous?
Alonso Bowden.
Oh,
He's very good. He's on Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Don't Tell Me. I love that show.
uh-huh.
Oh, how fun.
And he's also, he won Last Comic Standing on NBC a few years back.
Oh, really? Okay. Wayne Brady is just, his career is just took off. Like, the other guys are kind of like, yeah, but Wayne Brady has like, he's on prime time. He's on Let's Make a Deal, and he's also on.
I love Wayne Brady. I love him.
I was actually on that show with some. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, this is when I first got into journalism, and there was like this website, and it was like, oh, okay, I'm an intern, so he had his idea. He wanted his website to be all like action based. So I was like, okay, whatever, I'll write you a couple stories. And then he said, well, we're gonna all go to Let's Make a Deal. I was like, okay. And it was me that got him on, because I was like, hey, Wayne, pick this guy. And he wants some scooters or something. And he
Oh,
said,
that's cool.
it's for my website. He probably, I'm not sure if he was right about that or whatever, but
That's really cool. So now Diana had to mail out all the awards, and now she's taking a break, a painting break, a
Yeah,
well-deserved painting break.
tomorrow. But I have, we are doing a lot with, the police debacles that's been. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we're working on
You
trying.
mean the police murdering people?
Yeah, well, we haven't had any murdering here, but
where
we've
she
had,
she was trying to tase him, but she shot him instead.
yeah, right.
Yeah. A person who's been a police officer for
Yeah.
26 years.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
And she resigned.
Yeah.
She's arrested. She's been arrested
Oh,
for
she got arrested?
manslaughter.
She
Yeah.
paid bail.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, she made bail.
Oh,
No, but we've had problems with journalists that's been arrested and mistreated, and so we're actually working really hard on trying to get some changes in the law.
right.
So we're working both with other journalist groups,
Good.
Reporters Committee to protect journalists, and a lot, like maybe 10 journalist organizations.
I
And
talk about that on my in my podcast.
yeah, and ACLU, and also so I have a lot of phone calls, and we're having a Zoom meeting with a legislator on Friday, and
Good.
yeah,
Good.
so we're trying to get something
You're
going.
trying to get something. That sounds good, Diana. It's good work.
Yeah,
Your journalists are real look at how stressed out they are. Even our regulars are not. They're
Yeah.
all they're stressed out. Everybody's so stressed out. Now be careful what we say here. It's all on video.
yeah, but we're working with that, and we have some good people. We have the guy that's spearheading this is I'm on all the meetings, but he's really the expert, and he's
Right.
yeah,
Right.
and,
Nice.
And we also have Josh Campbell, who is the police expert on CNN.
Oh, good. Good.
He's on our board, and he's a former FBI agent, so he has real knowledge. as
Good.
well.
This is good. You have a good team. So you'll do something solid.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully, we've been working on it for a while, so.
I talk about that on my webcast, not in domestically, but like internationally, the journalists that go and they get arrested. Somehow, it's there's a lot of that. I mean, those people, most of those people are considered, really brave, and
Yeah, but no one wants to get arrested.
no one wants to get arrested. No, but a lot of people do. Like in
Right.
Latin America and like Africa.
Yeah.
I wonder, maybe this layout is not shit. Now I have to do this. So I have it. Because I'm gonna take a picture just to show the layout. It might work, it might not. This is a big canvas too.
Nice. How big?
I'm gonna tell you in a second.
18 by 24, something like that.
Yeah, probably.
Nice. Good.
They're on. I always had a coupon with Joanne's has you can get them pretty cheap if you get the coupon.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they charge giant. Joanne's
Yeah, big
totally
ones.
has good
I was
deals.
surprised. They have like these giant canvases in like the store.
Yeah, and
They have them like stuffed under the cabinets, like against in the wall area. But they're there. I mean, they're
yeah, I have so I bought like 40 canvases today.
wow.
Good for you, Diana. Planning ahead.
Yeah.
All right, how are you guys doing? Send me over stuff. How's it going, Paul?
Oh, good. I'll send you a picture.
Okay.
So I sent you the layout. I don't know if it will work. Maybe.
Let
it
me
will.
see. Because you're so tired and hungry, but I can evaluate this more clearly. Oh, yeah. Totally, that works. You're done, Diana.
Yeah, let's
It's done.
leave it at this.
You're done. It's done. You're finished. You've got the essential lines. Paul, this is Paul, this is great.
It's a cat and a dog and a person.
Paul, it's good. This is good. Getting better and better.
Well,
I love it.
Well,
I think you should put it on your blog.
Oh, I will. Yeah, I definitely will.
Actually, it's a good one. You've been pulling out a few really nice ones lately. Are you guys ready?
We're gonna go eat.
Okay, I was gonna say, Lana, are you still working, or you want me to? Shall we just end a little bit early? This is the thing about watercolor, isn't it? It's like so fast. I'm like,
I guess for like a professional artist, it's an easier day.
I just say, here's the thing. Like, here, hold on. I want to remove this spotlight here. How do I do that? Here's the thing. Here we go, gallery view. The thing about it is you either hit it or you don't. So you might have to do it over 2 or 3 times. So in the end of the day, you still end up working a lot, right? To get it, because you'll either get it or you'll miss it.
So it can be either frustrating but then rewarding.
I mean, I like it. Yeah. I mean, I find it like
smooth.
really freeing. Because I think I'm at the point where you're right. Like my skills are at the point where, but I'm not trying to do that much with watercolor. My watercolors are very simple, right? They're not complex like my cityscapes or something like this, or, like there's other things that I spend more time with, but these are very like sweet and quick. There are people who do extraordinary things with watercolor. I am not one of those people. And for them, it will be as hard, and that'll be all about control. right? It'll be all about control, because to get kind of realistic looking, like super realistic looking images, you really have to have a lot of control. But I do think as a medium, it has a pleasurable quality to it.
I
And
love,
everybody kind of, don't you think, Diana, everybody did a good job today?
yeah,
Like-
I do. And you know, I haven't touched watercolor again, but I used to do not a lot of watercolor, but when I did sketching for
Yeah,
paint,
it's a great sketching medium, right? It's great because you get there quickly. You can
Yeah.
map out the lights and the darks really quickly, and it's all there. Yeah. All right, you guys. Well, great work today. I think that was a great, like, kind of first proper watercolor class. I'll be doing a white lily tomorrow and another white flower
that's
on Friday.
3:30 tomorrow.
Yeah, 3:30. I'll send a note. In fact, I'm
Okay.
going to do that right now before I forget. I'll send
Okay,
out the source.
I'll try.
Try and be there. Try
Yeah.
and see you.
Try.
All right.
I'm gonna try to take it a little bit easy. I mean, the last couple of weeks I've worked really long
So
day.
hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See if you can take a little easier and have a little
Yeah.
paint break.
Yep.
All right. Bye, guys. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.